Hi, my name is Becca. Welcome back to Raising Them Simply. Here we share all about our secular homeschool as a family of 5, and today we are going to be chatting about homeschooling during difficult seasons of life and ways that we can make that run a little smoother within your homeschool. If you are new here, like I said, I am a mom to 3. I've got a 2nd grader, a preschooler, a toddler, and I've got another one on the way. I'm also a part-time working mom as a nurse. So this channel is all things homeschool and how we make it work for our family. So if any of that sounds good to you, please hit that subscribe button so you're notified of future videos. But let's jump into it. Now, this last year has been a year for our family, and I know that there are things that pop up all the time, right? Because we're just out here living life and emergencies happen and things happen, and we just have to be able to try to accommodate that. In this last year alone, we have had, I've had 2 different surgeries. We found out that we were expecting our next baby. We have a family member that's gone on hospice. We've had another family member pass away. And so there's been a lot in this last school year that has, or the last year, I should say, that has caused us to have to pause and reflect and change some things in our school. And I just wanted to help encourage you guys and kind of talk you through some of the things that we did to make it a little bit easier on us. So the first thing that we did is I really had to reduce my expectations. When I was doing my surgeries, I knew in advance when those surgeries going to be and how long the recovery process was going to be. And so I was able to block that out and find a natural pausing point in our school to be able to try to accommodate that. And then I had to reduce my expectations. So I knew that once we took that break, for example, I had a tonsillectomy and adenoidectomy. I had 2 solid weeks where I did not do any schooling because of that. And I wasn't going to be able to just jump right in, not for just myself and being able to talk and like actually teach all the information, but my kids had 2 weeks off. And I knew that we were gonna have to slowly get into things again, so that way we got into a good rhythm. And so that's what we did. I did not expect us to be able to just jump right in exactly how we were doing school beforehand, because it wasn't going to work that way. And similarly, when you start the new school year, right, even when you slowly restart your school year, there's still some growing pains as well, because they liked having their break and all that. Most kids don't enjoy doing school, or there's a little bit of pushback, right? And so I prepared myself for that, knowing that, so that I knew what to expect going in. And if things went better than I expected, then it was fine. But I didn't have these false expectations in place in my head prior to that, and that really helped. Now with other things in life, right? A death of a family member, or maybe there's an emergency job loss or something like that. Maybe you had a home emergency and you were displaced from your house or something like that. You really got to take it case by case, but in general, I would say just use that as your break. Take a couple of days or however long you need to just process what is happening, to be able to go through the grieving process if you need to, and be open and honest with your kids when you're going through that process. Just because you're going through something, right, doesn't mean that your kids aren't also feeling the impact of whatever you're going through as well. I'm a real big proponent of having open dialogue with my kids. Of course, I'm doing it in a child appropriate way for whatever age or stage that they are in. But if you're going through something like a death of a family member, it's really important that you communicate that to your kids and you allow them to communicate to you, and vice versa. You're going to have to be in a better headspace to be able to go through jumping back into school, right? And within reason, there's going to be a time where you're going to have to start back up, and maybe that provides some comfort and stability for you continuing to do school or starting school, even when you don't feel necessarily ready. But it is important that you're having that open dialogue with your kids to make sure that they are emotionally able to go through that as well. The next tip that I would do kind of with this, right, is because we homeschool year round, I expect us to have breaks, but I don't necessarily plan them because I only work 2 or 3 days a week. Sometimes that changes if I'm picking up extra shifts or something like that. But when we found out that I was expecting for this pregnancy, I was hit with some pretty severe fatigue. There were days where I only had the energy to do 2 subjects with my children, or there was a day that I couldn't do it. And when I tried to push through anyway, I was getting burnt out. I did a video on this recently. I will link it down below on homeschool burnout and some different tips for that. But the last thing you want to do is to make school feel miserable for yourself or your children. And so you need to be able to accommodate those breaks. We have the flexibility, all homeschoolers do, of being able to homeschool when and how long you want to. And so you need to take advantage of that flexibility sometimes to be able to help you go through those certain stages. So you really need to have that open dialogue, communicate with your kids, reduce your expectations, take the breaks you need when you need them. All of those really, really help you when you're going through these stages. And just know that it's just a phase. It's just a current stage of life. Things always get better. You can always catch up on things later. But one of the benefits of homeschooling, right, is having a chance to develop this really great and close relationship with your kids. And when you're going through these difficult stages, it's important to remember that. And sometimes the connection that you're having with your children is way more important than the book work. It's more important than math. It's more important than science, reading, whatever it is. And sometimes we just have to slow down and take that break, especially during these difficult seasons, to just reconnect with our children. And it's really important that we keep that within our vision for your family and your homeschool, for your family culture. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. It really helps my channel, helps me know what kind of videos you like to see on this channel. Leave a comment down below. What are some things that you've done during difficult seasons to help you get through it with your homeschool and your family? Hit that subscribe button. It is a great way for you to be notified of future videos, and I can't wait to catch you guys next time. Bye.